Hello everyone. In today's video, I'm going to set up a simple CI/CD pipeline which uses Terraform for infrastructure as a code, GitHub for continuous integration, and Jenkins for continuous deployment onto an AWS environment. I am currently running Jenkins in a Docker container where I created a custom image, and within this image I downloaded the Terraform CLI as well as AWS and Docker. Like I said, doing it this way, running Jenkins in a Docker container, will give it access to Docker itself based on the way I create the image, and also we can build and deploy containers straight from the Jenkins job. Again, like I said, we'll also install Terraform inside Jenkins to make sure that it's ready for infrastructure um, as a code. So here is what our setup looks like. We have a Docker file here, and then we also have a Docker Compose file. So let me just close the Docker Compose file, and start with the Docker file. So we're using the official Jenkins image as a base, and then we're switching to root, and then we're installing um, our dependencies. Then we install Terraform, and then we add Jenkins as a user, as a Docker group user. Then we switch right back to Jenkins. So that's how we're able to create our Docker file. So now let's take a look at the Docker Compose file. We have two services here, the Jenkins Docker and my Jenkins. So to begin here with the first service, Jenkins Docker, as you can see, here's the image right here. And this runs the daemon using Docker inside Docker. We also need privileged true, because it allows Docker to run inside the container. And then we also set a few volumes here. We expose these ports, and then we created a network called Jenkins, and we also gave it an alias. Similarly, for the next service, my Jenkins, it uses the previous image to build. We create a container out of this image called my Jenkins, and we restarted on failure. We set the environment, and we create a few volumes as well. We expose this two ports 8080 because this is the default Jenkins port 8080, and we can also change it if we would like. And we're also utilizing this port 50,000 as well in the same network as we did before. So with this, we're ready to run our Docker image. So we can achieve this by typing Docker compose up. I put a flag of -d to run it in detached mode. And to just make sure that our Jenkins image is built fresh, I'll type a flag of -- build and hit enter. So we're just gonna pull the official Docker image, and once it's done pulling, it's gonna start the containers. I'm just gonna expand this, and I'll pause it, and then I'll come back once it's completely pulled. So as we can see, our network and containers have been built. So if I were to type in Docker PS, here you can see our containers, my Jenkins and the image my Jenkins and the Docker dind image we created, and these are the containers which are also running. So from here, I'm able to log in to Jenkins UI using localhost. Usually you'd have to do a little bit of a setup. You'd have to do an initial password, and then you create a username, also with your email. But because I've been working on Jenkins, I already created that, but it's pretty easy. You just have to exec into the Docker container and then pull that password, and then you're able to register your email, and then you're ready to start working with Jenkins. Um, Here's just a simple pipeline I created. I'll create a new one. So it's called a job. So if I go back to the home page, I can hit new item, and I'll just give it an example of sample. Then from here, I'll just click pipeline and click OK. Then, without giving it any descriptions, I'll try a sample pipeline for Hello World. Press enter. As you can see, it's the Jenkins file here. It's in Groovy. So if I click save and I hit build now, and then if I go back, here's our build number, our first build one, and our sample pipeline. And I can click on this build number. I can go to the console output. As you can see, it started by me, and then the first command, which was just to run hello world, and then it finished with a success. So in a nutshell, that's how you run Jenkins in a Docker container. What we've done here is pretty much how it works together. Jenkins runs in a container, and when a job needs to build a Docker image, it connects to, I say job meaning a Jenkins job. It connects to a Docker image, to the Docker daemon running in the Jenkins container. Because we installed Terraform, you can also run infrastructure deployments as part of a pipeline, all inside of Jenkins. So yeah, that's how you are able to achieve running Jenkins in a Docker container. And I'll see you shortly as we proceed in our project. Probably to set up a webhook, or maybe we'll do that at the end. But I'll see you shortly, nonetheless.